For a business analyst who is trying to become a little more strategic in nature, what kind of a thinking change he or she needs to bring in?
First of all, they need to be the change in themselves. We have to change the way we think.
I think it will be important to understand how did your transition happen from BA to, let's say, you in between your product manager also. How did that transition happen and what did you do to make that happen?
When it comes to strategy, it is the highest loaded role right now.
In the digital transformation projects or any kind of a digital initiative, what are the common pitfalls or challenges which are faced and how BS can help prevent that? Good morning, good evening. Welcome to a brand new episode of FutureForward, a podcast series by Techcanvass on artificial intelligence, business analysis, and product management. Today, we are going to talk about something very important for business analysts. I believe that business analysts have been stereotyped in the IT industry. So most of the business analysts, they typically get into eliciting requirements, creating diagrams like process model, prototypes, and documenting requirements. But business analysis is much more than that. So how can a business analyst move from being just requirements documenter into a more strategic role? To talk about this, we have a guest who has done this. He has moved from being a business analyst to a product manager and now to a more strategic role. So let me introduce today's guest, Vikas. So Vikas is a multifaceted professional. He has over 19 years of experience in clinical workflows, hospital operations, and digital health systems. He specializes in translating complex clinical problems into scalable, tech-driven workflows. He has been a product manager as well as a business analyst. Let's welcome Vikas. Hi, Vikas.
Hello, sir.
So today, as I introduce the subject, we're going to talk about how business analysts can move up the value chain.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we start discussing, let's first talk about how has been your journey. Tell us more about your journey.
Yeah, I started my journey from my school itself, I would say, when I had bio and computer science as my subjects. So from that time, it was very nascent. I'm talking about in the year 1999. So either you move towards your medicine profession or you move towards IT. It was not like a transformative kind of field where you can have dynamic change in your career. So I pursued my medicine. I did my graduation in laboratory medicine from JPMOR Pondicherry. And while doing the course, I could make out that the kind of clinical research which we do in medical colleges, it is not directly linked with the patient care. And that is how this whole idea came up in my mind to play with the clinical data. And the moment I finished my career and moved towards the real industry, I could sense a lot of gap everywhere. It's not about clinical data. It's also about hospital operations, financial data. So then slowly I moved towards hospital administration, then towards the IT business, and I did my certifications also into hospital administration and software development management from IIM Calcutta. So currently I'm working with a US-based company where I'm exposed to handling multiple healthcare projects, right from data exchange platform for nationwide projects to implementing multiple EHR platforms within the hospitals or outside the hospitals for the whole healthcare. My intention is to provide real-time insight to the clinicians based on this data flow for better patient care delivery.
Okay. So you have a very strong career.
I would say it was a little struggling, but yeah, I managed to do so.
Good. So let's go to the topic and start talking about business analysis first. So you have been a business analyst. So over the last 1 decade or so, has business analyst evolved or it is still the same format of business analysis work which people are doing?
No, it's a transformative change. So I would say what our previous generation of business analysts did was commendable. The way they set up the whole process and got the data touch points for us to actually think like how we can utilize that data for real time insight. And that is how it is transforming right now. I mean, we have processes in place, we have data touch points, we can utilize that data, we can use multiple tools, AI tools, and we can create multiple things, right? But at the same time, as a business analyst, we also need to think whether those kind of technical solutions would actually be related to patient care, or whether it is cost effective or not for the whole process. So there comes an important role of BA to play there.
Yeah, so that is you touched upon two very important factors. That if you are a business analyst, okay, and if you really want to be more strategic or more value oriented, you need to look at what is the cost benefit aspect of the solution, and as well as how it can be benefiting the client.
Yeah, correct.
Whether it's healthcare
Or any
organization,
other industry.
any other client.
Yeah.
Okay. So for a business analyst who is trying to become a little more strategic in nature, what kind of a thinking change he or she needs to bring in?
See, first of all, they need to be the change in themselves, right? We have to change the way we think. Usually, when we get requirements, we start working on gathering those requirements, putting those points, like what and all things which is required by the client, but we never ask why. Okay, so that why is actually very important for a business analyst to actually look into the insight or the deep dive of that particular problem. Say, for example, we have seen a requirement which is coming from government CMS bodies, right? Okay, just to create and send a report to them. But at the same time, we need to think, why do they need to see those reports? They want to audit, and audit means to educate. Okay, so based on their feedback, we need to keep on putting those processes in place into our system, so that suppose if they want to have a clinical measure for calculating acute myocardial infarction, and they want to see how many patients were readmitted within 30 days having acute myocardial infarction. So why do they want to do that? If they are looking into that particular measure, it means there is something. So we need to check the stats, how many patients are there. We need to see what kind of processes are missed during the treatment of such kind of patients. And if we find something like a statin therapy, like it's a basic medicine, statin medicine, which needs to be given to the patients who are having acute myocardial infarction. So we need to put that process in place. We need to set prompts to the clinicians that the statin medicines are not given. So we need to develop a platform for all the stakeholders, like the nurse abstractor who are extracting the data from the EHR, the clinicians who are looking into that data, then the administrators, and this is just one example. Like there are multiple measures, and if you have to submit RFP response or create a solution for such kind of scope of work, we also need to think that what is the objective. So,
okay, so you talked about the value, the cost effectiveness. You talked about, so one of the things which you mentioned in your previous answer is that business analysts have to start asking questions. First question would be why. Why customer is asking for something. Okay. So let me just take a step back and say, okay, if a business analyst from being just a requirement documenter, right, they want to get into more strategic role. Okay. What are the 3-4 things which they need to add in themselves or work on so that they can start that journey or transition from being a requirements documenter to a more strategic role?
See, I think there are 3 points which are very important. First one is to listen to the requirement. Okay. So when we are actually working on the requirement document, we generally don't talk to the stakeholders. So the second point is the collaboration. Now, uh, when we talk to the stakeholders, we also need to see whether it is possible technically or not. So then we need to talk to the technical team. We need to collaborate with them. Then once we have a solution in place, we need to inform to our leaders, right, that such kind of uh, solution is possible and this is how it is going to work. So I think listening, collaboration, and most important is learning. We need to keep on learning new things. Whenever we get a new requirement, we need to do a lot of research. We need to get a lot of optional features for that particular solution. We need to discuss among stakeholders and then come on to the conclusion.
Okay. And is there going to be a mindset change required also from being a traditional BA, that is requirements documenter?
Yeah. See, we need to think in this way, like how our elders did work, right? I mean, this has to go to the next level, like to the generation X or generation G. So when we are talking about moving from established process to the next level, we need to consider that as our foundation. We don't need to break that. We need to consider that as our foundation and start building new things. So this way, I think the 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 person who is having this mindset of not moving to the next level, and the person who doesn't want them to move to the next level of transformation will be easier to understand.
Yeah. So I think it will be important to understand how did your transition happen from BA to, let's say, you in between you were product manager also. How did that transition happen and what did you do to make that happen?
See, as I mentioned you earlier, it has to be a continuous process of learning. So during my whole 19 years of journey, I had been learning, I'm learning now also. So being a product manager or being a BA, I feel at some point of time, we need to think strategically. Because unless and until we have a strategy in place, our solution is not going to work. Whatever
So
solution.
sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So strategy, the term.
Yeah.
What exactly does this mean?
See, strategy could be anything. Like if we have a solution in our mind, we have to implement it. We have to see how it is going to be implemented. So we need to talk to the stakeholders. We need to see like which group of people would need a sensitization, right? So kind of a mass sensitization could be a part of strategy. A pilot could be a strategy. When we are talking to our leaders or when we are talking to our technical team, creating a prototype with the help of multiple tools nowadays could be a part of strategy. So strategy depends upon the situation, but our ultimate goal should be adoption of the solution which we are having in our mind. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So let's get back to your journey.
Yeah. So I started my career from Dr. Lal Path Labs. So since I did my laboratory medicine, I thought it is a better place. So So I started working there, and I was doing my hospital administration also from Apollo at that time. So there I could see then that, let it be lab, let it be hospital, let it be a clinic, or let it be a government bodies, all these entities are connected to each other. So, and every single entity is having their own process in place. So I started gathering, a lot of uh, uh, exposure from all these industries. Like I started with Dr. Lal Path Labs. I had been into TTK Healthcare Services as well for some time to understand how does insurance process works. Then I moved into government project. Like I worked with Ministry of Health and Ministry of Defense, and there we could understand the whole process of claims takes close to around 1 year. Just to process one claim, it takes around 1 year. So we just implemented our data exchange platform where hospitals need to intimate it to CGHS bodies, and they need to uh, acknowledge it to them. And in case of any query, they can also ask to these hospitals. And for such kind of communication itself, it was taking such a long time. So by implementing our data exchange platform, we could reduce that turnaround time from 1 year to 10 days. So that's remarkable. And I think people are using it, all these hospitals. So from there, I could start thinking about integrating our solution to hospital management system. And I started getting exposure into hospitals. Like I worked with Max and Rockland hospitals in Delhi for some time. So in every place, I could see there is a role. There is a role of transformation through IT, and it was little difficult for me to explain this whole process because I was not belonging to IT at that time. So then my career approach towards IT. I did my certification from IIM Calcutta, and then I moved towards IT companies. So I worked with a few IT companies like eClinicalWorks, Soft.com. Then currently I'm working with Core Mobile Inc., which is a US based company. This is how it is.
Okay. So you actually touched upon some of the critical aspects. Okay. So we'll next questions will actually try to extract that. So one of the things which how the strategic part starts is that the businesses have to have some plan in terms of this is what they want to achieve. Okay. So they start with saying, okay, let's transform. And one of the ways to transform is digitally. Okay. So there is always kind of somebody who is required to do this translation from a strategic objective to the transformation which actually happens on the ground. Okay. So how does a BA get into this? What role does BA play in this?
Yeah, BA has got a very important role to play because all the planning and the vision was kept on the table, which was actually described by a BA. Okay, so BA has got a very important role whenever we are talking about transformation because they are the one who are closely monitoring the customers, the operational or technical team, the leaders. They are communicating to each and everyone, and on top of that, they are also analyzing what kind of solution should be given or should be placed to transform the process. So BA's role is actually very critical in this whole transformation journey, sir.
So in this case, you're talking about the BA who is possibly from the client side, who is working, or he is from the IT side.
Either way, whether it is either way, so they have to talk. Like even if the BA is from the IT company or BA is from the client side, they need to keep on talking to each other. They need to keep on talking to the technical team or their stakeholders. So either side, I think in both of these sides, it's very critical.
Right. But this is happening before the solution implementation begins, before the actual project execution begins. So what you described is it happens before that.
Yeah, correct.
So during this phase, say the cost benefit analysis, all of that would be happening. Feasibility also will happen.
Yeah.
So what all, if you can just stress a little more on what all things will be done during this period.
Yeah, so there are multiple factors. If you see, when any new idea comes on the table, we need to think strategically, right? Like if the BA is working in an IT company, they should have a product roadmap in their mind. So whenever such ideas are coming, they need to tag those ideas to their product roadmap, and they need to think about the cost effectiveness and the outcome of the whole project. Okay, so in one way they need to keep track of uh, placing the new idea into their product roadmap, and at the same time they need to move it effectively so that adoption can be done. So yeah, they have to wear multiple hats. They have to wear a hat of a strategic partner with the top management, the leaders. They have to wear a technical hat when they are talking to the technical team. They need to handhold with them. They need to explain why it matters, and they also need to communicate it to multiple stakeholders of the client. Say CFO, they want to see the financial outcome of the project, or if it's a clinical team, they need to see the clinical outcome, patient outcome for the whole process. So it becomes very critical. Yeah. So I think when it comes to strategy, it is the highest loaded role right now in the industry.
Okay. So in the digital transformation projects or any kind of a digital initiative, what are the common pitfalls or challenges which are faced, and how BS can help prevent that?
Yeah, as I told you, the common pitfall, I would say, we have multiple features, multiple products. It's enormous. If you look industry as a whole, there are multiple projects lying here and there, products lying here and then, where the technical team or the whole management team, they have spent quite a lot of time, but that is not adopted. Yeah, so I think that should be our first choice. Okay, whenever we are working on any project, we need to think strategically to get it adopted. So after adoption only we can say whether it is
Successful
or not. So I think adoption is the key.
Okay. So adoption will also mean that some business goals have to be linked to the features developed, right? So how does a BA, or how can a BA ensure that actually both these things are aligned?
Yeah, again, I think I'm coming onto the same point where I have told alignment is directly linked with the way we communicate. Okay, so we need to collaborate with multiple stakeholders. We need to communicate effectively to them. We need to use multiple tools to make them understand how it is important. Like we can create a prototype, we can create a flow diagram, we can like in whatever way they can understand. Like technical team understand a language of the design document. We need to prepare a design document whenever we are getting to work into any new requirement, or clinical team, they want to see the clinical outcomes. So probably we have to prepare a separate kind of document for them. So documentation, collaboration, learning, inventing creative ideas, all these are key factors.
Okay, so now let's talk about some of the tools and frameworks which can be used by business analysts to help them. So, can you give example of any tools or frameworks which can help in uh, performing these activities which we're talking about? Maybe some frameworks, standard architecture, something which comes to your mind.
Yeah, see, I'll give my examples. Like when I get a requirement, I start working on simple Excel. Okay, I start drawing the picture and I start putting all the data touch points which is required. So I start from the Excel. Then once I have that idea in mind, I take help from GPT, or there are multiple AI tools which can help me to organize my thoughts in a presentable way. So I prepare design documents. I also take help from some of the frameworks for generating HTML tools. So based on those requirements, I create those HTML and design a prototype. I also um take help from some of the AI tools to generate synthetic data based on the real case scenario. I put those data in place, get it validated by the stakeholders, and then I present it to the team. So that way, it makes them very enthusiastic about the whole project because they see it's going to work, it's going to be real. So once it start moving towards developing a prototype, or it's moving towards demonstration to the client, I make sure people are understanding each and every feature of the whole project, and it is tagged properly with a kind of UI which we develop. It has to be a UI which should have um, all the options which can make their life easier. It can also help them to analyze the data, right? So I always keep these three things in my mind. First is the input, the data input point, the processing part, and the output. So if we keep these 3 points in our mind and use correct frameworks to explain it to different stakeholders, it works. I think it's working.
Okay. What about data analysis understanding? So, how important is data analysis or kind of making sense of data for business analysts?
Yeah, at this point of time where everything is transforming, we must have data analytics in our mind, right? So see, there is a current process in place. On top of it, we have to create a solution. So I think this is the main idea. This is the main idea of transforming, where we have to analyze data, and we have to, based on that analysis, we have to optimize the system. We have to automate the system so that the stakeholders can get enough time to interpret the solution in itself. Otherwise, all the stakeholders will get involved in capturing data or into their day-to-day activities. It becomes very difficult to them to get the insight out of the whole process. We need to save their time. We need to save. We need to make them more productive. So in that case, data analytics is very important.
But does it mean learning any programming?
No, see, data analytics is simple Excel, right? It's uh, we need to divide, we need to segregate, we need to we used to fly kites, right? Sometimes the thread gets entangled, so we need to untie the uh, thread, and we need to uh, portray the whole process in a way that, yeah, based on the system which we have in place, we have these problems. We need to address those problems, and to address those problems, we have solution as well.
Yeah, so it's more like maybe analysis, simple analysis, and data visualization, maybe some creating some charts and all.
Yeah, see, why I'm starting from there, because right now it is not been considered by BAs right now, and they are thinking that we need to gather requirement and put solution. So we have to start from Excel, but it moves towards big data. It moves towards simulation. Okay, so uh, they can start from a simple Excel. They can start that analysis. They can start putting formulas. They can start putting algorithms. They can start using multiple AI tools to analyze that data. They can start creating simulators. So it's fascinating to have data analytics visibility in BA's mind.
And why I asked that question of programming is because most of the BAs are very scared of programming. Okay, so no, that you have clarified that you don't need to learn programming at all. Okay. Now the big thing, AI. Okay, so AI is like is everywhere. Okay, so how BAs can leverage AI?
Yeah, we don't have to be scared from AIs. AIs are there to help us, but AIs are not there to replace us. That mindset should be there in everybody's mind. Like if somebody has watched a movie called Iron Man, I always give that example of Jarvis, which used to help Iron Man to develop his whole, and that's possible. I mean, I don't know whether people will agree with me, but the AI tools actually can help you to create something which is out of the box, and that is possible only when you get to spend your time for thinking about and creating about those solutions. So yeah, I think everyone should start taking help from AI.
So before we move into the next section, just to kind of what you said, I just want to kind of summarize this. So you touched upon multiple things as to how BAs from being just documenters of requirements to more strategic. So it requires a mindset change. It requires understanding of certain tools and frameworks, right? And also the inherent kind of a inbuilt capability of always being ready to learn. Continuous learning becomes the key. Yeah. And think about why somebody wants something to be done. What's the benefit? That is something which has to be part of your understanding process of the whole whatever is initiative is being taken. So that is because I wanted to move into a soft skill side of being strategic in nature. Okay. So uh, strategy itself means some kind of leadership quality. Okay. That many people equate to. So, how much strategy is about leadership and influencing, or it is something else?
See, I think we are the change. So we need to think in this way. The communication skill or the leadership quality, or there are many other tools which can help you to connect with people like ARC triangle and all. But see, ultimately, we need to understand one point, that we are the change. We have to bring change, right? Change into the system. So I think those qualities will get adopted by a person who are actually willing to change. So this way, I would say, be a transformative agent, and it's good for everybody.
Correct. So now BA also have to work. BA is a role which is like more responsibility, less authority. Okay, just like product owners and maybe product managers. Now, but they have to work with multiple stakeholders. Okay, so what is key to that?
See, I would tell you, even though this BA's role is very submerged, people say it's just like a supportive role for everybody. They don't have any authority, but ultimately, for any good system to implement, uh, if you ask honestly, people will agree that they rely on the BA's input. Let it be a technical head or the leader in himself, they need to rely to these BAs. So I agree that it's not the authoritative position as such, but uh, we are playing a very critical role. We are working like a catalyst in the whole system, where we are transforming, we are influencing people to change. So I don't think it actually matters whether we have authoritative position or not. If our whole idea of getting into BA's role was to make this change, and it is happening, that is what is required.
Correct. So, in this entire communication style of working, because it requires a lot of collaboration with multiple stakeholders, how important is storytelling or ability to tell a story?
Yeah, you have to be a very good storyteller. Why? Because uh, see, when we have discussions in our meeting room, it actually make them feel bored, right? When we are talking about some kind of project or a scope of work or a solution, uh, they get bored. Technical team will say, yeah, I have to get some tools, I have to write a program. Okay. But why are they writing those programs? If a leader has to think, like, why have to spend money on developing this project? I mean, yeah, it's fine. We got a RFP requirement from a client. We have to uh, deliver it. We will deliver it. But the kind of enthusiasm which is needed for adoption of the solution which we are building in will need storytelling around it. If I say this way, like my father was admitted multiple times in a hospital. Okay, every time he could survive, but uh, there is a story behind it. Okay, every time, he's a diabetic, he's having kidney issues also, heart issues, multiple issues they have. But if you start building a story, it's very difficult to make him understand why medicine or the process should be adopted. But if you tell him like a story, like this way it is going to help your kidney, this way it will help your heart uh, in a better way, so they understand. So storytelling is very important. And when these technical team or management team, they're spending their time and energy for developing such solution, and if we don't have a story around it, they might lose focus. So it's very important to have storytelling in our mind, because the builders are also human beings. They need a motive to work onto something.
Correct. So, coming to the next thing, I'll put you on hot seat and ask you what will happen to BAs in next 5 years, or what changes expected in the BA role.
Many changes. I think after the AI is, this is the second time AI is again booming quite a bit, and this time it is more organized. I think AIs are going to bring a lot of change in our day-to-day life. So I think BA's role are there everywhere. Like the person who is going to spend money on developing such kind of solution, they need a BA who thinks strategically. They need a BA who can actually make things happen. They need a BA who can wear multiple hats. So right now, currently, I think we have very limited numbers, but looking at the pace which is happening right now in all industries, I think BAs are having tremendous role to play in all the industries, mostly into healthcare.
Yeah. So many BAs whom we deal with, okay, a lot of people have this concern that our role is like documenter. So AI can do a lot of these things. Okay. So what will happen to us?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, I mean, they have to consider AI as their assistant friend.
Assistant.
They have to consider them as their friend. I mean, as you mentioned correctly, yeah, they have to consider them as their friend, their companion, and they have to start building a solution. They have to keep on learning through AI, and they have to keep on building a new solution. They have to keep on creating new ideas. They have to keep on thinking about multiple solution of the same problem, and which should be adopted, which problem should be adopted, which should be more cost effective. So moving towards strategy, strategical leader, you can say, could be their next move.
So one advice you want to give to BS who don't want to remain a requirement documenter and move into more strategic role. One advice.
There is only one advice. I mean, be the change in yourself.
Start from
transformative.
yourself.
Yeah. Start from yourself.
Yeah. And if you look at what value, I mean, if let's say one value proposition which a BA can think, saying that, okay, this is what we contribute to the client. Okay. What would be one thing which they can target? Say, okay, by making this change in ourselves, this is what we can help the client with. What could be the one thing?
See, the expectation of client, we need to understand the expectation of client, and at the same time, we also need to think what we can offer them as a value proposition, as a gift to them. So, client is surrounded with problems. They try to put their problems forward to us so that we can provide them a solution. But we can always consider that problem as our source of energy. And when we provide the solution to them, the similar kind of energy should be reciprocated. So, similar kind of energy, why I'm telling you, because maybe client is unable to think from multiple angles, right? So we have to use our head. We have to use our head around the kind of problem which he is facing right now, and what are the solutions which can help them. So understanding expectation of the client and delivering the solution which can satisfy their needs more than what they are expecting.
Correct. So one last question. So you mentioned be the change. Okay. So one actionable item. Where can somebody start? One or two options where I say, okay, I want to make the change. I'm ready to put in the effort. Some small steps. How can they start with?
The only thing is they should start thinking why. If they start questioning on the kind of requirements which they are getting, like why is this required, I think slowly and gradually they will start getting all the supportive tools which is required for handling such problems. I think slowly they will get all the strength and energy which a BA should have as a transformative agent. If they start questioning why is this required?
Yeah, that's a good advice. So before we end, anyone after listening to this podcast would like to connect with you, where can they connect with you?
Yeah, they can connect on my LinkedIn profile. I'm available on LinkedIn. They can also connect on my phone number.
It is there in my LinkedIn profile?
It is there on my LinkedIn profile.
Okay. So thank you so much, Vikas.
Thank you so much, sir.
It was really great.
Yeah, it's great to be here, sir, as part of the Techcanvass team.
Thank you. So thank you so much for being part of this episode. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.